If any of this is at all true, particularly in regards to the offensive content, then it was a good run while it lasted, Rockstar. Hello, this is Mara Jade, and I'm back with another video, and I personally don't care if a female protagonist is introduced as long as it's organic, natural to the story, without any type of agenda or politics associated with it. What I do take issue with it, again, if it is at all true, is the neutering of offensive content that, quote, punches down. Anybody who's played a Grand Theft Auto game can tell you every demographic, and when I say every demographic, I mean every fucking demographic, is a proverbial punching bag. No one is safe, and everybody who has played these games, at least genuine fans of the series, have been cool with it. They don't fucking care. Because, again, no one is safe. No one is safe. It's like South Park. Everyone is a target for the humor and satire. And we've been cool with that. But now, if these sources are reliable, like I said, they're neutering the offensive content. They're deciding what's offensive and what isn't, pretty much, at this pace. It's all subjective, but they're going to be the arbiters of that subjectiveness. But anyway, let's just dive into this article so we can get a gauge of what these sources are claiming as far as Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto 6. So without further ado, here it is. Sources claim that Grand Theft Auto 6 will have a female protagonist. Again, I don't care as long as it's organic. Less content that could be deemed punching down. And I would have to ask, who is the fucking asshole deciding that? Who is the person who is going to be the end-all, be-all judge of what is offensive and what isn't, pretty much? Because, again, humor. This type of content is all entirely subjective. What offends you will likely not offend me, and vice versa. And to quote the comedian Stephen Hughes, be offended, nothing happens. Pretty much. Be offended, nothing fucking happens. But here it is. And a kinder and less intensive work environment at Rockstar Games. I think that "and" is supposed to be an "at" editors, but a kinder environment. And what does that connote? Well, here it is. Bloomberg reports, I'm blocked by Jason Schreier of Bloomberg on Twitter. According to people familiar with development, Rockstar Games had already begun trying to dun down, what the fuck is editors, Jesus Christ, content that could be deemed offensive as early as 2020. After the death of George Floyd and subsequent riots, the studio allegedly halted plans for their Cops and Crooks mode from Grand Theft Auto Online. Senior executives were concerned how releasing such a mode where teams of players fought against each other and teams of police and criminals would be taken at that time. For most normal people, it would have been just another fucking mode. But you bow to the Twitter mobs pretty much at this rate. Noting that Rockstar Games had already censored allegedly transphobic content from the latest console release of Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, allegedly. Never really fucking proven. It's just whatever these Twitter mobs pretty much have their panties in a twist about, it's always allegedly. It's always their feelings. It's always what's in their reality, their narrative. Never what's face value, what's never reality, nothing like that. But anyway, the outlet reports the studio had also significantly narrowed its gender pay gap. You mean the fallible wage gap? The one where it's based off of faulty data, or I should say outright lying data because it doesn't take into account different variables. That pay gap? Bloomberg then, with surprisingly little fanfare, reveals that the claim Grand Theft Auto 6 will have the series' first playable female protagonist, according to the people familiar with the game. But surprisingly little fanfare, because no one fucking cares. If it's organic, if it's natural, if it's nothing to do with politics or anything like that, if it makes fucking sense to the story and she's not a Mary Sue, no one fucking cares. That's why there's little fanfare. The only fanfare you're going to get is from the Twitter mob that really doesn't play the fucking games to begin with, or even call themselves really gamers. Surprisingly little fanfare. I'm sorry. You have to pat yourselves on the fucking back for that, Bloomberg. As per the source, there will be a pair of protagonists influenced by the Wild West's Bonnie and Clyde. They will be a pair of bank robbers, and we assume lovers if the influence holds up, with the woman being Latina. Again, Don't care. Let it be natural. Let it make sense to the story. Let her be a substance. Alright? Character of substance. Not a Mary Sue. Not Power of the Uterus or anything like that. Let her just be a good character. And when I say good, I mean like just good as in well developed. She's a bank robber. Rockstar Games may also be trying not to punch down with jokes about marginalized groups, the source claims, in contrast to prior games. Yes, in contrast to prior games, because everyone was a target. Everyone. You fell into a certain demographic, you were a target of the humor and satire. It was nothing personal. It was nothing, and that was made it good. The fact that it wasn't personal, it was directed at all of American society. But now they don't want to punch down on marginalized groups. And again, who are you to judge who's marginalized or not? I want these people to fully fucking admit, I'm talking about the Twitter mobs, the white saviors on social media. I want them to fucking fully admit they want to be plantation owners. They want to go to pre-Civil War South. That's their mentality. They don't let those marginalized groups speak for themselves. They want to speak for them. While prior titles had seemingly mocked American society as a whole, yes, with no holds barred against any group, the outlet notes how Grand Theft Auto 5's tone was a mirror to the behavior of Rockstar Games employees. Sources claim that the company had a workplace culture full of drinking, brawling, and excursions to strip clubs, right? Brawling is one thing. You shouldn't really be fighting in the work environment, pretty much, in the work group. Full of drinking, okay, as long as they weren't alcoholics, and excursions to strip clubs. Are you judging? I really don't fucking care. I really personally don't fucking care. The game was released, and people loved it. Alright? As described by Bloomberg, but also crunch and long hours. I do take issue with crunch and long hours. I don't think there should be crunch with games. Alright? If you had to delay a game, do so. Alright? Don't push a certain date that you believe the game should be done by if it's going to be at the expense of your employees. The latter allegedly saw employees working nights, weekends, and 100-hour weeks to meet development schedules, which employees spoke out against across 2018 and 2019. That I do take issue with. After this, Rockstar Games not only attempted to reinvent its workplace, but how it was perceived. According to one of our over 20 current and former employees who spoke to Bloomberg, the developer was a, quote, boys club transformed into a real company. Grand Theft Auto 6 has had a slower development, allegedly starting in some capacity in 2014, and while hindered by the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown orders, delays were partly due to the new changes aiming to improve conditions at the company. These include restructuring the design department and keeping overtime at a reasonable level with more producers to monitor schedules. Don't have an issue with that. Contractors become full-time employees, with abusive managers allegedly being given the boot. Employees had care packages across the pandemic and have also been given mental health and leave benefits. Right, is that genuine mental health, or are those the assholes who need safe spaces and trigger warnings? I'm just asking, is it genuine mental health in terms of like the crunch hours, or in today's society, social media environment, is it the latter? The new flex time policy even allows employees to immediately take time off for every hour worked. Over the past 4 years, management has reassured excessive overtime wouldn't be needed for Grand Theft Auto 6's development. Another source told Bloomberg that the dramatic changes to Rockstar Games' work culture could not only help with retaining and attracting staff, but also make games better for everyone working on them. While sources say morale has allegedly been the highest it's ever been, some aren't sure the studio can still make the chart-topping caliber of game the studio has become known for. If they're going the route of neutering offensive content, then no. For example, to avoid excessive hours, the purported initial plan for Grand Theft Auto 6 to feature larger areas based on North and South America was scrapped. Instead, the map will be focused on a fictional version of Miami, much like Vice City, and surrounding areas. The game also reportedly had the codename Project Americas, which matches prior rumors that claimed the game would introduce a female protagonist. Again, as long as it's organic and she's a good character, don't care. Grand Theft Auto 6 will instead be updated over time, adding new missions and even cities, ideally reducing crunch towards the final months of development. Despite this, the game allegedly promises to include more interior locations than prior entries in the series. I would much rather, this is my own humble opinion, them to just delay it, work on it as long as possible, and release it how they originally intended to release it. Grand Theft Auto players have waited this fucking long for 6, so what's more time at this point? I'm not liking the updating over time sort of mentality. But then, that's just my personal opinion. While some claim to be adjusting to these new working conditions, such as additional producers, directors, and middlemen causing communication bottlenecks and confusion of who would make final calls, others told Bloomberg they aren't sure what Grand Theft Autos would look like today. Executive producer Dan Houser left Rockstar Games in 2019, who led the creative direction on the series, as noted by Bloomberg. Several of the sources pointed out that satirizing modern American culture would be difficult, as it's already a satire of itself, which I would argue would make it fucking easier to satire American culture. It's already satirizing himself, pretty much. It's writing itself, just fucking putting it in the game. Bloomberg reports that industry analysts are expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to launch in Take-Two Interactive's 2024 fiscal year. That would be April 2023 to March 2024. However, some sources told the outlet they didn't know of any release date, expecting a 2024 release at least. Like I said, I would rather them, if it takes longer, if it's delayed, I would rather them put out, in my opinion, what they were originally intending versus what they're planning on doing now. I don't need necessarily the game right now. Others might. I don't. I want the Grand Theft Auto experience, the genuine Grand Theft Auto experience. Thanks to, quote, loose schedules and a lack of progress, a group of designers allegedly quit Rockstar's Edinburgh office. Others also noted there was little pressure to get a new game out the door. Is treating staff better synonymous with making less offensive games? What do you expect out of Grand Theft Auto 6? Let us know on social media and in the comments below. Again, these are sources. These are rumors. This is not confirmed one way or the other. My issue... Now, changing the work environment does not necessarily mean the game will be altered. However, given the social media environment, given the whole identity politics, sociopolitical agendas, and so forth, I take pause. Alright? I take pause in this until it's shown either way. Again, I don't care if there's a female protagonist. Just make sure she's at least fits into the Grand Theft Auto world. She's not a Mary Sue. It's organic. I do take issue, if this is at all true, with the neutering of offensive content, because at that rate, it's not Grand Theft Auto. It is not Grand Theft Auto. You might as well re-release Grand Theft Auto 5, like I stated. Just re-release, keep re-releasing that game, because you fucking stopped with the series at that point, because it's no longer the series we know, if this is at all true. But at any rate, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Again, if reliable, do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? What are your thoughts on the changes to Rockstar's work environment? Let me know all of that. What is your favorite Grand Theft Auto game? Me, my personal subjective opinion within the series is Vice City. Maybe not the best in the series, but is my personal favorite, the one I very much loved playing because of the 80s feel and songs and so forth. But again, that's my opinion. What's yours? What is your favorite in the series? Are you looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6 despite what they're doing? Are you not looking forward to it? Are you on the fence? Let me know all that fun stuff down in the comments below. I will be on Twitch later on tonight playing back on Evil Dead the game. I'm going to get kind of a group together to play with at least 3 other people, maybe. Hopefully for 4, so we can have a private match with 4 survivors and a demon, but we'll see. Look for that about 7:30-ish p.m. Eastern time frame. My Twitch is Jade_Fire. Back in the swing of things with my new PC, so look forward to seeing you all there. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is Mara Jade. Catch you on the dark side, and shit, here we go again.